I was so wrong about difficulty in Souls-likes, and I used to think that they were a cheap way out, that they watered down the experience, that if a game lets you pick easy, normal or hard, it meant that the devs didn't trust their own design or didn't want to fine-tune the balance. While difficulty is a part of Souls-likes, and I understand that a lot of them are supposed to be tough and unforgiving, the difference is that if you don't have difficulty options, then you can be laser focused on one vision. And games like Jedi Fallen Order only reinforce that for me. It is a Souls-like, but it gives you difficulty options, and you can see that in the later bosses, it just wasn't as tightly designed as the likes of From Software games. So for a while, I was unsure about difficulty options in Souls-like games, because there is a satisfying loop to finally beating a boss and overcoming the challenge. But then Elden Ring came along, and it proved that you can absolutely keep the core of a Souls-like and still make it more accessible. If you want it to be brutally hard, it can be. If you want to fight every single boss solo, or skip the summons, or don't use a mimic tier and go full masochist, then you can. But if that's not your thing, you can use Spirit Ashes, you can summon your friends, or you can use range attack or magic, or even just go explore so you're wildly overpowered. Elden Ring doesn't give you a difficulty slider, but it does give you a lot of tools to shape your own difficulty. And that's what I missed for a long time. Difficulty options don't have to make it easy, they can mean make it more flexible. The core still stays intact, you're still exploring, you're still struggling, you're still overcoming, but it doesn't have to be exhausting. And that's something that I didn't fully grasp until I spent 2 non-stop days playing Sekiro. So I played Sekiro for 15 hours across 2.5-ish days. I didn't plan to, I just couldn't stop playing. It was the only thing I could think about. I'd finish a boss fight and feel completely drained, but then the next one would pull me right back in. I wasn't just playing Sekiro, I was thinking about it when I wasn't playing it. I was on a walk with my dog and I was replaying the fights in my head and wondering, maybe if I do this next time I'll finally be able to beat it. And that's of course because Sekiro doesn't let you play like other From Software games. Apart from the game itself just being different to other Souls-likes, there are no builds, there are no summons, no magic cheese strats, there's nothing you can do. You can't out-level the problem or switch to a new build. It forces you to get good, and it just demands precision. Every boss fight is genuinely a duel. It doesn't want you to trade blows, it wants you to master the rhythm. And that's what it feels like. It feels like a rhythm game. This is a bit of an exaggeration, and I'm sure there are some gamers that could do this, but you could almost close your eyes and fight some of these bosses. Because you know when you hear the slash, you block, and then it will be a 3-hit thing that you can do on the beat. And when you do it, it feels amazing. I could say this for every single boss, but it took me a lot of tries to kill them, and I would die over and over and over again. But each time I learned something. I learned a new pattern or a new opening, or I can add this slash in here, or when he does this attack I can jump, or I can deflect this, deflect that, dodge this one. And when you finally beat these bosses that you've been stuck on, it just feels like you've climbed Mount Everest. Thing is, after every single fight, my heart was pounding just like I ran a marathon. And that sense of accomplishment is the high of Souls-likes. That's the moment every single person talks about, the thrill of overcoming something you thought was impossible. And it genuinely is incredible. But by the end of that second day of playing Sekiro, I was fried. It demanded so much of me that I didn't want to touch another Souls-like for a while. I was emotionally and mentally drained. And that's when I picked up Tunic. Tunic doesn't look like a typical Souls-like at first glance. Yes, it takes elements from the Souls series and Zelda. It looks like a Zelda game. It plays a lot like a Zelda game too, but under the surface, it shares a lot with FromSoft's design. It has stamina-based combat, punishing bosses, and a world that refuses to explain itself. You're dropped in, told nothing, and expected to figure it out. And the game is better because of it. The combat in Tunic is much simpler than Sekiro. You still need to dodge and block and respect enemy patterns and all that sort of stuff. But you don't need to be frame perfect. It's more forgiving, it's less intense, but it's still quite satisfying. And while that is true, the bosses aren't easy either. Some of them took me multiple tries and I had to actually engage with the mechanics to win. But the real magic of Tunic isn't in the combat, it's in the exploration, which I think is a staple of the Souls-like genre, and that is the thing that I want with these games. From Software games are known for being cryptic, but they're also infamously obtuse. Most players will never finish a certain side quest without a guide, or even realize that there is a side quest, or they'll never meet an NPC because this NPC only is here at this point in the game. After you do this, travel back here and talk to them, and then they'll go to this place. I mean, it's just so obtuse. And yes, Tunic is more accessible in a gameplay and combat standpoint because it's just not as deep. There isn't as many enemy attacks to watch. There aren't even that many enemies in the game, and you can genuinely just run past the enemies. But where Tunic showed me just how accessible it is in the game manual. This game is cryptic, but it plays fair because it gives you all the information that you will need. All you have to do is just go find it. You discover pages as you play, slowly piecing together not just the lore, but the actual mechanics of the game. It doesn't hold your hand, it still gives you that I want to explore everything and we're not going to tell you anything. But it doesn't hide it the way the From Software games do. Every secret is discoverable, every puzzle is solvable if you pay attention and find all the manual pages. And because of that, Tunic gave me the best part of a Souls-like, that feeling of discovering a world without burning me out, without constant boss battles. Yes, it was challenging, but it was also meditative, focusing on understanding and not just bashing my head off a wall trying to beat bosses. And after finishing Tunic, I was ready to return to something more traditional, but I still didn't want another Sekiro. And that's when Lies of P came along. Lies of P is about as traditional as a Souls-like as you can get. You have dodge rolls, you have stamina bars, you have methodical punishing combat, and just like Sekiro or any of the other From Software titles, it is brutal. But the devs did something in a recent update that I didn't expect, and they added in a difficulty option. So the base difficulty of Lies of P is the hard mode. And then you can drop it down 1 to medium, and then you can drop it down 1 even easier than that to easy. I went into Lies of P still really burned out from Sekiro. But I still wanted to feel like I was accomplishing something. Feel like these boss fights were difficult. Feel like I was getting that sense of exploration while I was piecing together what is going on in Krat, discovering all of these shortcuts. I wanted that experience, but I didn't want to crack my head off a wall because Lies of P is a very difficult game. And as is with every single Souls-like video you ever make, you will get purists, you'll get the traditional Souls-like FromSoft bros saying that you didn't actually beat the game because you played it on an easier difficulty, or you didn't get the full experience, or I'm better than you because I played the game on hard mode with no summons, or I didn't do this, that or the other. I played it on Souls level 1 and I beat the game and I'm better than you. And that is just par for the course when you're making content about Souls-like games. But Lies of P, even on the medium difficulty, is harder than most other games you will play. It's not that playing it on medium difficulty makes it a cakewalk, because enemies will still kill you in a couple of hits. It's just slightly more hits than the hard difficulty. Bosses, you still have to learn their patterns, you still have to dodge them, you still have to perfect parry them, but it's just slightly more forgiving. And that's exactly what I needed. See, what a lot of these From Software bros won't realise is that commenting saying that I beat the game at Soul level 1 isn't really a brag. Yes, it is impressive, but like, nobody really cares. And most people, myself included, I'm not sitting here making videos to show you off my skill at a game or say I'm amazing at this game. I just want to enjoy games the way I want, when I want. And I like what these difficulty options in Lies of P have done. Still playing a Souls-like, and a very, very good one at that. I'm still creeping around every corner looking for enemies and ambushes. I'm still figuring out boss attack patterns and when to parry and when to dodge, and maybe what elemental buff might help me against this boss. I'm still discovering secrets, exploring these levels. And as I said, even on normal difficulty, this game is way harder than most games you will ever play. So you're not missing out on that difficulty, which I do think plays a part in these Souls-like games. There is something so engrossing about these because you are so invested in whatever build you're doing, or even just learning the combat system. I think it goes a long way in making these worlds more immersive because they just completely suck you in from a gameplay and a world building perspective. But now I can just do it and it's slightly less stressful. I don't finish a boss fight and want to go take a nap, because that's what happened when I beat the final boss in Sekiro. That was absolutely disgusting. And when I finally beat the ape, I just had to put the controller down, turn the PlayStation off and go for a walk, because it really is just that intense. So yeah, I was completely wrong about difficulty and accessibility in these games. I used to think difficulty options would ruin a Souls like that. Maybe the experience would be made less meaningful, and that the developers who included them would be compromising on their vision, but now I just think the complete opposite. Difficulty options, when done well, enhance the game. Games like Elden Ring, Tunic and Lies of P show that you can keep the heart of a Souls-like intact while giving players the tools to tailor the experience to their needs. Whether it's a non-traditional difficulty slider like Elden Ring, the way that you can build your character whatever way you want, or you can just go off and explore and level up to fight a boss later on that you weren't strong enough to beat now and it's so much easier. Or you get the obtuse nature of just From Software games in general and give you every single tool that you'll need with the manual in Tunic. Or you got a very traditional route like Lies of P that just gives you an easy, normal and hard difficulty. And it shows that you can just keep the Souls-like intact while giving the players the tools to tailor the experience to their needs. And it just means that a lot more people can enjoy Souls-likes, which is great. And I don't think the developers are compromising their vision in any way. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this video annoys some From Software bros, because those From Software bros are genuinely some of the worst commenters in the whole of YouTube. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you all in the next video. Goodbye.